Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of dismal Disney. We've got some Disney leaks from the Disney data leak. We're going to see how much money they're making off of Genie Plus and other things.
Yeah, apparently since they started, they've made about almost $750 million by upcharging Genie Plus from the free Fast Pass Plus. And then we also have information about, there's different things in there talking about employee information, there's customer information, there's like 1.1 terabytes of data got leaked.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a lot of stuff, and they have all kinds of information about it, and the Wall Street Journal put an article out talking about it.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about the numbers, and again, we didn't know specifically what was in this big data leak. We did cover it a couple of weeks ago, but now they've had time to look through it, and it's pretty interesting stuff. So you're gonna have to walk me through this one. I haven't taken a look at the numbers yet, but just what little you've told me about it, particularly with Genie Plus, is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to piratesandprincesses.net. That's Geeky's Disney news blog. She's been running this for a number of years. If you want an unbiased opinion about the House of Mouse and all the stuff associated with it, go out there.
Yeah, so thank you. So thank you for that one marvelous introduction. Anyway, so we have, this is the information from when it hacked. Back in July.
Okay.
They found out that 1 terabyte over 1 terabyte data, 1.1, was hacked from Disney's internal Slacks and some other internal channels. They said they had an inside person. It was that Null Bulge who did it, and they released it. Okay, we talked about that before, and Disney was investigating it and all that. So fast forward to now, and now we have the Wall Street Journal is covering it, talking about what happened. So they actually went into the data. They did not use, I guess there was credentials to even log in to the accounts to get into the cloud and the Slack. They did not do that, but they went to the data that was put out there, and they said that it sheds light on operations, personal data, and on staff and customers.
Most companies aren't going to come right out and tell you everything they're doing, every detail of their business transactions or what they're making or whatever, if for no other reason than their competitors will catch wind and they're going to copy them. But it's pretty interesting. This shows why they're pushing in the different directions that they're pushing in.
Right. And Disney they used to release more information like on streaming than they do now. And they keep a lot of the information guarded and they don't put it out there. Now, the Wall Street Journal article does not give you detailed information, but this is what they said they found within the leak. I'm not sure if that information is still out there if you want to go look for it. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. Anyway, they said that there is granular details about revenue generated by such products as Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, park pricing offers the company is modeled, and what appears to be login credentials for some of Disney's cloud infrastructure, which they didn't try to access.
That would be illegal. Yeah. So I can tell that they're trying. I mean, they're brushing right up against it because you see what the Disney lawyer, Disney spokesperson says, but they didn't access any of the systems because that actually would be illegal.
Yeah, they just looked at the data that was leaked. They didn't actually breach anything themselves. So they said Disney said the incident has not had a material impact on its operations or financial performance and doesn't expect it will. No, but it does tell people like what's been going on. They said with these what they got out of this, they said there was up to 44 million messages from Disney Slack workplace. Upwards of 18,800 spreadsheets and at least 13,000 PDFs that were leaked.
Oh my God.
They said that the material was limited to public and private channels that employees had access to. It does not include anything with, the C-suite or anything like that.
Yeah, they're not going to I don't think the C-suite is going to post in a company Slack like that just for no other reason. If somebody got a hold of that and they saw a conversation between, Bob Iger and Bob Chapek or whatever, right. And it's, that's good. Yeah, they're not going to.
So this is just like the everyday employees, but there's data on employees, including their home addresses and things like that, which we're going to talk about in a bit.
Yeah, that's not good.
The Genie Plus thing is what I was interested in. It caught my attention. So they said one of the spreadsheets in the link had detailed revenue information about Genie Plus, which launched in 2021. And they said that it has generated more than $424 million in pre-tax revenue between October 2021 and June 2024 at Walt Disney World alone. That does not count Disneyland's version. That is just Walt Disney World. They have $750 million just at Walt Disney World.
So you want to know why they're talking about filling in the rivers of America? That's another e-ticket that they can charge more for.
Individual Lightning Lane.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we talked in before. I brought this up in the article I did about the fact that Disney is changing the DAS pass, the Disability Access Pass, and people are like, "Oh, it's to stop cheating," and it might be. I think it's to force people to buy Genie Plus because their solution for a lot of people was, "Well, buy Genie Plus." So they're not approving a lot of people who would previously have gotten approved for DAS. And some of these people, I think, really legitimately needed it. I think there are people who are abusing it, but I think that there are people who legitimately need it who are not getting it. And their answer is buy Genie Plus. So I think I 100% think they're doing this because people were using DAS and not Genie Plus, and they want to up that revenue to $1 billion plus. So I think that's what this is about when it comes to the DAS pass.
Yeah, so I mean that's a lot more significant than I thought it was. I mean, obviously they're always looking for a way to upcharge people, but yeah, you start adding it up, all the people that go to Disney World. I mean, to have any kind of a decent experience, you pretty much have to pay for this.
I guess we should probably explain Genie Plus for people who don't know.
Yeah.
Back in the day, before 2021. They used to have something called Fast Pass Plus. And if you went to the Disney parks, included in your park admission, were up to 3 Fast Pass Plus that you got to use for free on different attractions. Okay, and then if you use those, you could add more. It was included. It was the Disney difference. Well, they decided that why give that away for free when they can make $750 million or more. So they started charging people to have the Genie Plus to use per day per person. So you're adding. I think the minimum was like $15. So right off the bat, if you have a family of 4, you're adding $60 to your ticket right off the bat. Then if you wanted like big attractions that had virtual queues, but you wanted to make sure you got on the attraction because you missed a virtual queue, you could buy an individual Lightning Lane, or ones you don't want to wait in line for that were the in-demand attractions. You could buy an individual Lightning Lane for a price per person. Some of them are like $20 per person. So add another like family of 4, $80.
Yeah.
So between the two things, you're up to $140 on top of your ticket prices that day. And that's what's funding this.
Yeah, it's insane because, I mean, Disney just keeps taking away. They keep taking away all these perks. It used to be worth, staying at one of their hotels because you had the Disney theming, which they've gotten rid of that in a lot of the hotels. But they also had, for the longest time, free parking. Then they took it away and they gave it back. But there were a lot of benefits to staying, and you didn't really feel like Disney was always expensive, but you never felt like you got ripped off. And then in the last 6-8 years, just everything has been, they want more ARPU, they want more ROI, they want to get more blood out of the stones. You're not really increasing attendance. Actually, we're seeing the attendance numbers overall go down. They're just getting more money per guest.
Mm-hmm. Hence the ARPU.
Yeah.
But, so that was one thing they brought up. Another thing they brought up was streaming. Okay. They said the leaked documents also provide fresh insight into Disney's streaming revenue. They don't disclose revenue for individual streaming services. They used to, they do not now within their direct-to-consumer business, which is Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN. However, internal spreadsheets suggest that Disney Plus generated more than $2.4 billion in revenue in just the March quarter alone. That would be like Q2, I believe, of this year. So just this year in Q2, they generated more than $2.4 billion just off of Disney Plus. Now, remember, they just now said they're profitable.
Yeah.
It was just last quarter, which would have been that they did a thing, would have been Q3, I think. That they said they hit, or maybe it's Q2. Either one of those 2 quarters, they finally hit profitability. So if they're making that much money in that quarter and they're just now being profitable, how much money are they spending or losing? Because that's just Disney Plus. That's not ESPN Plus. That's not Hulu.
I don't know.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, they just now got profitable. So,
well, is it Disney Plus is profitable, or is it?
They said they're streaming in general.
Streaming in general,
but right. But Disney Plus generated $2.4 billion, and they're just now saying streaming in general is profitable, and that's just Disney Plus. So, how much money are they spending? On streaming, if they're just breaking even, just now starting to make a profit.
They spent billions of dollars on shows that a lot of them weren't watched. They spent billions of dollars probably, or at least hundreds of millions of dollars on promotion. They're doing all kinds of tie-ins with different deals, Verizon, stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. And then of course, they had to build it, which is so dumb because they could have again bought Tubi. For a fraction of what they spent. But
Tubi's catching up too. I mean, they're tying.
Or are they inflating the amount of money that they're spending on Disney Plus and actually bankrolling other stuff in the company and tying it somehow to Disney Plus?
That I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is, just for that quarter, Disney Plus alone generated $2.4 billion in net revenue. And they bring up too about Hulu. And they said this underscores how significant a revenue contributor Hulu is, particularly as Disney seeks to buy out Comcast's stake in the streaming service and as the two sides spar over its value. Because what's going on now is they couldn't have come to an agreement.
Right.
So when Disney bought Fox, they acquired their Fox's stake in Hulu, because originally it was Comcast, Fox, and Disney each had a third.
Yes.
All right. This gave Disney 2/3 of Hulu. They made an agreement with Comcast. They would buy out Comcast's part of Hulu by the beginning of this year. Okay. And I think whatever the floor valuation was divided, by 3, they were paying a third of that amount of money to Comcast, which you've already paid the base. Mm-hmm. Now it's up to seeing if there's more valuation to it and they owe Comcast more money. Both Comcast and Disney did evaluations on what they thought it was worth. And they came very far apart, obviously. So now a third party is going to look at this and decide what the valuation is. And then it's going to be like split, depending on what their valuation is. But we're not going to know that information until later this year or even into next year. We just know it's coming. So Disney may have to pay even more to Comcast for Hulu.
Yeah. And of course, Disney is probably going to try to keep it down as low as possible. So maybe that's part, I don't know, because they're going to try to get as cheap as they possibly can. And if they're broadcasting, oh, Hulu makes this much money, and Comcast is going to be like, yeah, well, the price just went up.
Well, they didn't post, they didn't post what Hulu made in this article. I don't know if it was in the documentation or they just don't want to put too much out there because they're afraid that might be pushing it too far. But they didn't put that in here. Other information that got leaked were a cache containing detailed information about staff on board Disney Cruise Line ships, including passport numbers, visa details, places of birth, and physical addresses, as well as some current assignments. Another spreadsheet had names, addresses, and phone numbers of some of the Disney Cruise Line passengers, and one had information about Disneyland guests with restaurant reservations that are just now out on the internet. They had ones, this is kind of funny, staff reactions to the battle between Disney and DeSantis over the parental rights and education law. They had different people who, were different LGBTQ employees and leaders of employee resource groups writing letters to then CEO Bob Chapek and other staff members expressing frustration about it. They had, information in the data, Disney's ad operations, including spending by politicians on Disney platforms.
Well, that's interesting because that usually is public anyway. I know, donations are public, but yeah, they can actually see who's spending what. I mean, I know we have Hulu and it is nonstop political ads. Nonstop.
How much they're spending, who's spending, and whether to approve ad campaigns by Netflix and other rivals.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because that would be kind of like, do we want to help Netflix beat us? They're already destroying you, but do you want to help them? Now, they're probably going to do ads for, the people that they bundled with, I'm sure. But that would be kind of an interesting dilemma, wouldn't it? Netflix wants to give us a whole lot of money, but we're going to help grow their platform, and people might cancel Disney Plus and go over to Netflix.
Yeah, so they have discussions about that. I mean, there's all kinds of data on this. And they said about Null Bulge was the one who, distributed the data. They don't know if they're claiming they're Russian-backed hacktivist group. Apparently, that it sounds like that I don't know who FBI, whoever's investigating it, thinks it might be one person. They don't know, but the data's out there.
Yeah. So once it's out of the bottle, once the genie's out of the bottle,
Genie Plus, yeah.
Once the Genie Plus is out of the bottle, you're not gonna be able to stuff it back in. I guarantee you, some of Disney's competitors and enemies are going to be pouring through every page of those PDF documents.
I'm sure they are. I mean, and like I said, there's credentials to get in, which I would not recommend doing.
No, that is illegal.
Yes. Wall Street Journal made sure they clarified they did not access anything they weren't supposed to access. Do not do that. Okay. If you see the data, okay, that's one thing, but do not try to, and I'm sure that data's been changed. It's been out there long enough, but now I'm sure Disney changed it.
I don't know. Their IT people don't seem like they're really on top of things over there.
I'm sure that it was changed by now. So, but there you go. That's a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more, but I personally am not going to go out and search for the data.
No. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it's in, all over the place on the dark web. The dark web, all those people looking for logins and stuff. And yeah, just assume anymore. I mean, I'm going to be honest, like whether it's your bank account or, logins for your email or whatever it is, just assume somebody's going to get a hold of it someday, because every damn thing that we subscribe to or every bank account we've had, it never fails. We get a letter in the mail. Hey, your data's been breached. Your data's been breached. Just so you know, your data's been breached. Oopsie doopsie.
I hope Disney alerted the people whose data's been breached.
Yeah, right. This come on like Mickey Mouse letterhead, like gorsh.
Whoopsie.
Oopsie doopsie, we fucked up.
Then it has that little scream at the end.
No, Goofy's in charge of IT over at Disney.
I can't do the scream, I'm sorry.
Are we gonna wrap this one up?
Yeah.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.